Hello dear viewer and welcome to the wondrous and magical world of Globsters. We've got slimy Globsters, hairy Globsters, rotten papier-mâché Globsters, Lovecraftian Globsters, and even Yu-Gi-Oh! Globsters.
It's time to do.
So head to your local beach and maybe you can get your very own Globster. Perfect as a low-maintenance pet, an eye-catching centerpiece in your interior design, or the missing part to complete your tranquil Zen garden. Nothing says personal statement like owning a giant pile of slimified rotten flesh with an odor that would burn itself into your nostrils. Indeed so, dear viewer, you believed we were going to talk about some elusive cryptid, yet here we are, discussing rotten heaps of meat that washed onto the shoreline. I guess you could say Globsters are the UFO equivalent of dead crab floating in the ocean. Not really, but you know. Anyway, the story of the Globsters begins in 1960 when a large mass of flesh washed ashore in western Tasmania. Covered in rough white hairs, the rotten blob had a spine, 6 weird fleshy arms, but no sign of eyes or a mouth. While globs were initially assumed to be the remains of sea serpents, the truth is often a lot more grounded in reality. For example, our Tasmanian glob later turned out to be the partly carcass of a whale. Not as exciting as a dead sea serpent, but it did pique the interest of Ivan Terence Sanderson, a British biologist and writer who coined the term globster, to pin a name on the oddly shaped blob of the Tasmanian carcass and other unidentified slabs of rotten blubber that would wash ashore after that. Now, although a lot of Globsters initially assumed to be remains of plecosauruses or other fantastical sea creatures, eventually with adequate testing, a lot of these globs turned out to be decomposing carcasses of basking sharks or whale blubber. That said, there are plenty of Globsters that never got identified because those were either too decayed, destroyed, or got lost. So who knows, perhaps there were some sea serpents, plecosauruses, or colossal octopuses in there as well. When it comes to the appearance of a Globster, it's a hodgepodge of guts, gore, liquefied flesh, and other unsavory smelly parts. Some globs are just piles of putrid ooze, while others have more distinct features like a bone structure, strange hairs, tentacle-like protrusions, and other flappy, dangly bits. Most Globsters are unsurprisingly linked to aquatic creatures, but there's a few that are more mammal-ish. Point is, there are many types of Globsters, it's basically Pokemon for dead crab on the beach. So let's take a closer look at a bunch of documented globs to get a deeper understanding of this foul-smelling phenomenon. Now these aren't in any particular order, I'm just gonna fire a flurry of globs at you with some backstory. We're starting off with the Teculutla monster. This big fella, being about 22 meters in length and 2 meters wide, was found beached between Teculutla and Nautla in Mexico in 1969. Its description was very creative as people stated it had some type of armor, huge eye sockets, horns and even wool-like hair. The skull of the very dead creature was later tested to determine it was a decomposing whale and not some woolly horned beast from the depths of the ocean.
Disappointed!
Second in line is the Attica carcass, a globster that ominously appeared on the shore of the Gulf of Suez in 1950 after a storm had raged for 72 hours. Quite the setup. This giant eyeless heap of fat with 2 tusk-like bones sticking out of it was also concluded to be a dead rotting whale, the tusks merely being its decayed mandibles. Our next one takes a more fantastical turn. involving a creature that washed up on Margate Beach, South Africa in 1924. This mysterious ocean dweller supposedly was seen by locals having a vicious battle with two orcas before ending up on the shoreline. The beached creature was said to have snow-white fur, a lobster-like tail, and, to top it off, an elephant-like trunk. This last feature resulted in the globster being affectionately named Trunko. Despite stinking up the beach for 10 days, no scientists investigated the carcass before it disappeared. How did it disappear, you ask? Well, apparently good old Trunko wasn't dead, but just sleeping, and woke up and returned to the water, presumably to beat the living daylights out of some orcas. Unimaginative minds assume Trunko was the expired carcass of a shark or whale that a couple of killer whales were toying with before it beached. But in our hearts, we know Trunko is still out there, laying the smackdown on any unsuspecting sea creature he stumbles upon. As I mentioned before, despite the definition of a globster being an unidentified organic mess washed ashore, not all of them are aquatic creatures. Meet the monster of Montauk, a more mammal-looking glob that washed ashore in Montauk, New York in July 2008. Many say this little guy is or was either a raccoon, dog, sheep, or rodent, obviously deformed from rotting in the water. Interestingly enough, there's a nearby island called Plum Island, which has connections to certain conspiracy theories, including secret experiments. So, the plot thickens. Okay, let's do one more, because I found the name pretty goofy. Straight from the shore of Hollingworth Lake in Rochdale, England, it's the one and only Loch Ness Monster. Aside from being a cheeky jab at one of the most iconic cryptids, the Loch Ness Monster was found in 2015, washed ashore of Hollingworth Lake, and is estimated to be roughly 152 centimeters in length. Assumed to be a pike, its decayed carcass with its slender serpent-like body and big open maw with sharp teeth is an unsettling sight indeed. And that's where I'm ending our little globster showcase, because I don't want to drag on too much. I know some of you have that TikTok attention span. There's just so many globsters to explore with an interesting backstory. Heck, perhaps in the future I'll make a few more in-depth videos about certain globs, who knows. It's funny how rotten carcasses washed ashore can become such an amusingly interesting niche of cryptozoology. And with that, we have come to the end of this episode of The Graveyard Shift. I do hope you've enjoyed this look into the amazing world of globsters. Thank you for watching, and next time you visit the beach, look out for the globs.